According to Chicago public school leaders, ICE agents showed up at Hamline Elementary School this morning. The staff there say they followed their established protocols and kept the agents from entering the school. According to our NBC News Chicago affiliate, the agents did not detain anyone and left the premises shortly after. NBC News has reached out to ICE officials and has not yet heard back. Joining us now, Pedro Martinez, Chief Executive Officer for the Chicago Public Schools. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What exactly happened this morning?
So we had individuals that came to one of our schools, Hamline Elementary School, that presented credentials and shared that they were from ICE. And so our staff followed the protocols. We're very clear. We've been training our principals, our security guards, any front office staff to making sure that they know that we are not to share any information with anybody from the Immigration Department or ICE. We're not allowed to, unless they have a judicial order, they're not allowed to even enter the building. And so our staff followed those protocols.
The next day,
Chicago Public Schools now call the chaos and confusion over an immigration scare at an elementary school a misunderstanding.
They are defending school staff for denying access to the Secret Service, not ICE agents. This all happened at Hamline Elementary School in back of the yards. Our Charlie DeMar has been pushing for answers all day and is live at CPS headquarters for us. What he found out tonight, Charlie?
During the Chicago school that I work at. And let me just say, first and foremost, that I am so proud of our admin for acting quickly and for following protocol and not allowing ICE to enter the school building or to get in contact with any of our students. As a speech-language pathologist that works directly with these families and students, it infuriates me so much to hear that they tried entering the building. To do what? To detain students? Students that are harmless? ICE is purposely trying to detain students, children, knowing that their family members are going to pick them up after school. This happened midday. I guarantee you their plan was to probably detain students and wait out until their family got there to go get them. Schools are supposed to be safe havens where our children can go learn, grow, and feel safe, not places where they can feel intimidation and fear. Although ICE didn't enter the building, what they did do is create fear amongst the community members, because now the students don't feel safe and now the students can't focus on learning because they're too worried about getting separated from their family members. You need to remember that these actions have real life consequences.
So I showed up in an elementary school in Chicago and tried to gain access to it. Don't worry, teachers and staff did exactly what I said that they would do. They say, fuck no, you gotta leave, and ICE had to. I just want to say, it's not lost on me that when teachers and students needed law enforcement officers to enter school to stop an active shooter, they were like, oh no, I can't do that, we're scared. But law enforcement, like ICE, has no qualms about entering an elementary school and ripping children away from their family. Okay. These like MAGA conservatives that come into my comments, they're like, you think that ICE is scared of you teachers? They're not scared. I didn't say they were scared, right? But they're gonna get frustrated with us because teachers, we're stubborn as shit. I'm gonna say it again, good teachers are not gonna give up their students to ICE. I'd rather spend my entire prep here trying to fix a paper jam in the printer than give up one of my students. I'd rather clean the microwave in the teacher's lounge.
Good afternoon, thanks for joining us here on this busy Friday. I'm Alex Maragos.
And I'm Marion Brooks, and we begin this afternoon with breaking news from the South Side at a school there. Earlier today, officials at Hamline Elementary School in the back of the yards neighborhood say Immigration Customs Enforcement agents showed up at their door. When asked to produce a warrant, they left. But now ICE says it wasn't them. Chicago police say it wasn't them, and the Cook County Sheriff's Department says it wasn't them either. V. Wynn is live for us at Hamline School. She's got the very latest. V, this is quite a mystery.
Yes, it is, Marion. You can feel the tension, fear, and worry in this community. Some parents tell me they rushed over to the school after hearing reports that ICE agents showed up this afternoon. Chicago Public Schools telling us that staff and security immediately followed protocols and did not allow these agents inside while they assessed the situation. So according to Chicago Public Schools, this happened around 11:15 this afternoon. CPS leaders say some people arrived at the school near 48th and Bishop, presented credentials, and identified themselves as ICE agents. It's unclear how long that interaction was for and who these agents were looking for. CPS leaders say security and staff have been trained and have been preparing for what to do when agents arrived. They say they will continue to follow guidance that unless a court order or a federal warrant is presented, that agents will not be permitted. Here's what the district's chief of education and the principal had to say about what happened earlier today.
The ICE agents were not allowed into the school and were not permitted to speak to any students or staff members. Here is the bottom line. Our students and staff are safe. Our protocols were followed.
We will not open our doors for ICE, and we are here to protect our children and make sure they have access to an excellent education. We stand in solidarity with our families and the back of the yards community.
The Department of Homeland Security says this was not an ICE encounter. Chicago police telling us the department did not receive any calls for service at the school. Cook County Sheriff's Office said it's not their jurisdiction. So as you can imagine, this caused a lot of confusion and anxiety for neighbors and parents who have kids attending the school.
And Donna is more kids in there, they're not got no papers. You know, it's not fair. They're little kids.
I feel bad for all the children.
They should leave the school alone. That's sanctuary right there. So that's, they should leave the kids in school. They shouldn't come and play with them.
So rapid response teams made up of volunteers from different organizations responded today as school was letting out. They provided families with know your rights information. So back out here live again, DHS not an ICE encounter. CPS telling us they followed protocols, and they're reassuring family and staff and students here that they are committed to protecting the rights of students regardless of their immigration status. Of course, we are following this story. We'll have another update. Yes, guys, we just confirmed within the last 30 minutes or so that Secret Service agents showed up at the school today. They were investigating a threat that was made. You know, this has caused a lot of fear and anxiety and worry for so many people in this community, initially thinking that this was related to immigration enforcement. So this is what we know so far. According to Chicago Public Schools, several people showed up at the school around 11:15 this afternoon, presented credentials, and identified themselves as ICE agents. CPS leaders say security and staff immediately followed protocols and did not allow these agents inside while they assessed the situation. The Department of Homeland Security now telling us it was not ICE, it was not an ICE encounter, and now within the last 30 minutes or so, we can confirm that agents with the Secret Service was conducting an investigation. A federal spokesperson telling us they were investigating a threat made to one of their protectees. Excuse me. This was in reference to the recent TikTok ban. That investigation led them to a home next to the school, then over to the school. As part of their investigation, we heard from the president of the Chicago Principals and Administrators Association about the steps taken earlier to ensure the safety of students.
It seems like some migrants, at least the ones from Central America, are already deciding on their own to go back out of fear that if they reach the U.S. southern border, their effort will not pay off. This is what the migrants told us.
That's what's driving me to go back. Because I can't press forward, not anymore. I have to find a way to return to Honduras. That's what's driving me to go back. Because I can't press forward, not anymore. I have to find a way to return to Honduras.
And in case you didn't catch the last thing, the migrant from Honduras said he told our reporter that he left his home country on January 20th, the very same day of the inauguration.
So still count on the federal government, but watch that space. Let me ask you about another area that you campaigned on quite a lot, and there was a flurry of activity on, and that has to do with immigration.
Sure.
The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops this week condemned some of the executive orders signed by President Trump, specifically those allowing immigration and customs enforcement to enter churches and to enter schools. Do you personally support the idea of conducting a raid or enforcement action in a church service, at a school?
Well, let me address this. Of course, if you have a person who is convicted of a violent crime, whether they're an illegal immigrant or a non-illegal immigrant, you have to go and get that person to protect the public safety. That's not unique to immigration. But let me just address this particular issue, Margaret, because as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We are going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden.
You
Let them talk about
them going
people like
into
Laken Riley who were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe. Let me ask this question, Margaret. Let's separate the immigration issue. If you had a violent murderer in a school, of course I want law enforcement to go and get that person out.
Of course.
So what's the point of the question?
You changed the regulation this week. That's the point of the question.
Exactly.
Giving the authority to go into churches and go into schools.
We empowered law enforcement to enforce
But
the
that
law
also
everywhere
has
to protect
a knock-on
Americans.
Effect, a chilling effect, arguably, to people to not send their kids to school.
I desperately hope it has a chilling
In the
effect on
churches,
illegal
you think
immigrants
the
coming
U.S.
into our
Conference
country.
of Catholic Bishops are actively hiding criminals from
I think the U.S.
law
Conference of Catholic Bishops has frankly not been a good partner in common sense immigration enforcement that the American people voted for. And I hope, again, as a devout Catholic, that they'll do better.
There are 5 legal challenges already to one of the other immigration actions. The order on birthright citizenship. A federal judge appointed by Ronald Reagan, I think you'd agree, has some conservative credentials, paused the order to end birthright citizenship, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. How do you reconcile this challenge to the 14th Amendment to the Constitution?
So I obviously disagree with that judge, and these things, some of them will be litigated. That's the nature of our constitutional system. But here's the basic idea of President Trump's view on this. If you are a lawful permanent resident or a legal immigrant who plans to stay, your children, of course, should become American citizens. But let's say you're the child of an ambassador. You don't become...
But that's not part of it.
Well, that
There's
is
already a carve-out
an
having to do
important
with kids of
principle.
diplomats.
But we're saying that that carve-out should apply to anybody who doesn't plan to stay here. If you come here on vacation and you have a baby in an American hospital, that baby doesn't become an American citizen. If you're an illegal alien and you come here temporarily, hopefully, your child does not become an American citizen by virtue of just having been born on American soil. It's a very basic principle in American immigration law that if you want to become an American citizen and and you've done it the right way, and the American people in their collective wisdom have welcomed you into our national community, then you become a citizen. But temporary residents, people who come in here, whether legally or illegally, and don't plan to stay, their children should become American citizens. I don't know any country that does that or why we would be different.
Oh, but this is a country founded by immigrants.
Well, this is a country founded
unique
by.
Country.
This is a very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers. But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world. No country says that temporary visitors, their children, will be given complete access to the benefits and blessings of American citizenship. America should actually look out for the interests of our citizens first, and that means, again, if you're here permanently and lawfully, your kid becomes an American citizen. If you're not here permanently, if you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and don't plan to be, why would we make those people's children American citizens?